tell you, since I get the invitation to speak here, everybody says to you, you know, everybody wants to give you advice about how to talk at this dinner. Some people are like, stick it to the man, Craig. Other people are like, don't rock the boat, Craig. Everybody says do political humor, which is, what they mean by that is do jokes that I agree with politically. And I spoke to a lot of journalists about how I should speak up here, and everyone, all the journalists said, Craig, your duty is speak truth to power. That's what you do. You hold the truth up for everyone to see. That's your job, speak truth to power. And I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. That's your job. You're journalists. I'm a late-night television show guy. I make up crap that isn't true, and then I say it on TV. I'm like Fox News. I'm not a journalist.
Because we have 7 cast members from West Wing. That's West Wing, the favorite show of the Democrats. Every Democrat loves that show. But George Bush says no. He says he's going to watch tomorrow night the NBC miniseries, The 70s. Not because it's a better show. It's just he doesn't remember it, and it'll be a learning experience for him. How to bring back some issues.
The Chinese crisis is dying down, and Mr. President, you did an admirable job of bringing us brave men and women back home, Mr. Cheney. Thank you. But I did hear a rumor that the first time you met with the Chinese ambassador, you brought your laundry. That's not true, is it? That wouldn't be right.
You know what I do when I watch the news now? I turn the news off, I get out my Bible, I turn to the book of Revelations, I start just checking stuff off. You know? Got it, need it, got it, need it. Red dragon, 7 horns, 10 crowns, done. Ozzy Osbourne, America's favorite TV dad, done.
And a lot of President Bush's critics who continue to say there was no connection between Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. These just released CIA photographs. These just came in today, Mr. President. You may not even have seen these. Here, take a look. This is at the Fallujah Fair. Take a look. These last 4 especially damning. They are right there, yeah.
It is a misconception that, that the president he's not really, the Bruz they're not really down with him, with the African Americans. That's so untrue. We love President Bush. We're down with him. Especially when the First Lady was looking for somebody to barbecue at the White House. I don't know how many relatives I had thinking, you think they'll hire me, man? I can barbecue.
Mark Smith, ladies and gentlemen of the press corps, Madam First Lady, Mr. President, my name is Stephen Colbert, and tonight it is my privilege to celebrate this president, because we're not so different, he and I. We both get it. Guys like us, we're not some brainiacs on the nerd patrol. We're not members of the Factinista. We go straight from the gut, right, sir? That's where the truth lies, right down here in the gut. Do you know you have more nerve endings in your gut than you have in your head? You can look it up. Now I know some of you are going to say I did look it up, and that's not true. That's because you looked it up in a book. I believe the government that governs best is the government that governs least, and by these standards we have set up a fabulous government in Iraq. I believe in pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. I believe it is possible. I saw this guy do it once in Cirque du Soleil. It was magical.
So, Mr. Bin Laden, please take note. You take a moment from humping that goat. We think you're wrong, you think you're right. I think your turban is tied too tight. We let our women show their face, and they make this world a better place. So we'll find you on that mountain pass. We'll hunt you down. We'll kick your ass.
It will be, though. It will be a bittersweet day in January, sir, when you leave the White House. I remember 8 years ago when you said you were going to return dignity to the White House. And by the way, I thought you were fantastic on Deal or No Deal. That was just... Don't you shrug me. You were on Deal or No Deal. I saw you. During your administration, though, there was not one single sex scandal in the White House. Not one, except the time when Barney humped the Pope's leg. But he's one of these things.
But that's the thing about you, sir. You're so likable because you're so accessible. You know, playing basketball. You know, I bet you rappers even give you their demo, don't you? You know, hey, can you get this to Jay-Z for me? Yeah. And yeah, you're taking the first lady out on dates. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I walked past the White House and see you out there mowing the lawn.
Well, you know, Newsweek is reporting that Hillary Clinton has been talking to friends about stepping down as Secretary of State. But, you know, I think I picked up a clue in a recent interview of what she plans to do. It's a little subtle, but take a look.
A long time, so I want to ask you again. You're never going to run for president again?
I have absolutely no interest in running for president. None. I mean, I know that's hard for some people to believe, but I just...
And Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke. Gary Busey said recently that Donald Trump would make a great president. Of course, he said the same thing about an old rusty birdcage he found. Donald Trump said recently he has a great relationship with the blacks, though unless the blacks are a family of white people, I bet he's mistaken. I like that Trump is filthy rich, but nobody told his accent. His whole life is models and gold leaf and marble columns, but he still sounds like a know-it-all down at the OTB. So it's not a strong field. And who knows if they can beat you in 2012. But I tell you who could definitely beat you, Mr. President. 2008 Barack Obama. You would have loved him. Mr. President, look at your hair. If your hair gets any whiter, the Tea Party is going to endorse it. The President and Joe Biden were not invited to the royal wedding, and when Biden found out, he immediately said to the President, you, me, wedding crashers too.
Mr. President, you remember when the country rallied around you in hopes of a better tomorrow? That was hilarious. Even some of your fellow Democrats think you're a pushover, Mr. President. They would like to see you stick to your guns. And if you don't have any guns, they would like to see you ask Eric Holder to get some for you. They say diplomacy is a matter of carrots and sticks, and since Mrs. Obama got to the White House, so is dinner. White House Press Secretary Jay Carney is with us. Hello, Jay. Jay is, as you know, not only is press secretary, you also know him as the white guy from every Lens Crafters commercial.
It's amazing to think how much our country has changed in 18 years. Think about it. If in 1995 you told me that in 2013 we'd have an African-American president with a middle named Hussein who was just reelected to a second term in a sluggish economy, I would have said, oh, he must have run against Mitt Romney.
The president's performance tonight, everyone. Sir, it's amazing that you can still bring it with fresh, hilarious material. And my favorite bit of yours was when you said you'd close the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay. That was a classic. That was hilarious, hilarious. Host a show called The Soup, which is on the E! Network. Thank you. To Republicans in attendance, E! is the channel that your deeply closeted gay son likes to watch. Democrats, it's the same channel that your happy, openly gay son likes to watch. E! is also home to the Kardashians, who, believe it or not, are Republicans. And I know that because they're always trying to screw black people.
A lot of people want Elizabeth Warren to run for president, but many think she's too idealistic and her proposed policies are too liberal. But look at President Obama. I mean, people thought the same thing about him. He didn't end up doing any of that stuff. But seriously, Michelle Obama, what an amazing woman. A Harvard-educated lawyer, a fierce advocate for LGBT rights, and the founder of the Let's Move campaign to combat childhood obesity. It is a dream to sit next to you, but it's a nightmare to eat next to you.
And I have to admit, it's not easy to follow the president, man. You got some jokes, Mr. President. President's funny. Stay in your lane, man. It's not fair. You don't see me going around presidenting all the time, right? And whenever I turn to the TV, I see Trump's family campaigning for him, you know, gushing all over him, or as it's also known as Morning Joe. Have you seen Morning Joe? Oh, come on, guys, seriously. No, you know it's true. Guys, Morning Joe has their head so far up Trump's ass, they bumped into Chris Christie. You know that's true. But Donald Trump, you know what it is with Donald Trump? Donald Trump looks like the rich dad in every episode of Law & Order where the frat kid accidentally strangles a hooker, right? Doesn't he? Yeah. But guys, I am not surprised Donald Trump is happening to America because I watch movies, I do. And every time there's a black president, something always comes to destroy the earth. Always.
The WHCA is a group of journalists who cover the White House. They are not King Joffrey's goons, so I'm so glad you guys are all here tonight to honor a great American tradition, because we all know this administration loves deleting history faster than Anthony Weiner when he hears footsteps. So thank you for being here. Historically, the president usually performs at the Correspondents' dinner, but I think I speak for all of us when I say he's done far too much bombing this month. I love that everybody's drinking, having a good time. This is beautiful. You know Donald Trump doesn't drink, right? Does not touch alcohol, which is oddly respectable. But think about that. That means every statement, every interview, every tweet, completely sober. Pence wanted to be here tonight, but his wife wouldn't let him because apparently one of you ladies is ovulating, so why do you support this man? On his RSVP, he just wrote no, just no, which happens to be his second favorite N-word. Every day on The Daily Show, we do these jokes all the time. We're like, the administration lies, Trump flip-flops. It doesn't matter. His supporters still trust him. It has not stopped his momentum at all. It's almost as if The Daily Show should be on C-SPAN. It has left zero impact.
And just a reminder to everyone, I'm here to make jokes. I have no agenda. I'm not trying to get anything accomplished. So everyone that's here from Congress, you should feel right at home. Of course, Trump isn't here, if you haven't noticed. He's not here. And I know I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the President of the United States is the one pussy you're not allowed to grab. People call Trump names all the time. And look, I could call Trump a racist or a misogynist or xenophobic or unstable or incompetent or impotent. But he's heard all of those and he doesn't care. You guys gotta stop putting Kellyanne on your shows. All she does is lie. If you don't give her a platform, she has nowhere to lie. It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the woods, how do we get Kellyanne under that tree? There's also, of course, Ivanka. She was supposed to be an advocate for women, but it turns out she's about as helpful to women as an empty box of tampons. She's done nothing to satisfy women. So I guess, like father, like daughter. Oh, you don't think he's good in bed. Come on. And of course, we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We are graced with Sarah's presence tonight. I have to say, I'm a little starstruck. I love you as Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale. Every time Sarah steps up to the podium, I get excited because I'm not really sure what we're gonna get. You know, a press briefing, a bunch of lies, or divided into softball teams. I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You know, is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? Like, what's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?